Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sehat dan sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, salam kebajikan, Namo Buddhaya. Today we will raise a topic related to agriculture. Of course, the loyal Himni participants have very frequent attended the webinars with this topic, where, for your information, from today is the 27th Himni webinar in this year, or 123 webinar since we started since 2021. This topic, the agriculture topic, always occupies the top place with the number of joining participants beside of the hot topic. At the IAEA, of course, Indonesia has been referred as one of the countries that can help share its technology to another country such as South Africa on agriculture. One of our experts we know, Professor Suranto, is the one of the expert on sorghum, and he is very known expert from Indonesia. Today, Dr. Azri, as the one of Indonesian expert, she's a lady who has been struggling with the application of nuclear technology for agriculture for more than 10 years, I think. We will provide enlightenment regarding what Indonesia has achieved on agriculture, research and development, especially the application of nuclear technology. In addition, we will also be proud Women in Nuclear Russia is kind enough to share information related to the status of its nuclear technology application activities in the agriculture sector, which I myself have never heard about it. So I'm very eager to listen carefully about what will you present. Therefore, personally, I can't wait to get enlightenment from the Russian colleague. Science is science. I have to stress on it because this is the intention of our collaboration. Hopefully, today's webinar could motivate each other in cooperative relations between the two countries in the field of nuclear technology application, especially on agriculture. I hope that what is conveyed today can inspire not only for all Indonesian researchers, but also the other side, and also strengthen the relationship between these two countries. For the close remarks, I will say thank you very much and enjoy the webinar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bu Geni. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Alexandra Ryabich. She's a co-founder of Women in Nuclear in Russia. The time is yours, Ms. Ryabich.
Colleagues, good day, dear all. It is a great pleasure that I want to welcome both our Russian colleagues and our partners in Indonesia as a roundtable today dedicated to discussion of radiation technology. We have a history of fruitful cooperation between Women in Nuclear Russia and HIMNI and BRIN in Indonesia. Last year, we organized a successful teleconference of Women in Nuclear, and in May this year, held an interesting expert roundtable which discussed breast cancer technology that helped to combat it. I would like to especially thank Ms. Geni for joining us at the St. Petersburg International Forum in June and sharing her inspiring successful story. We as an association are thankful to Ms. Geni and the female expert community of Indonesia for inviting us to join you today. And now I wish you an interesting round table and hope for future events and initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ryabich. Next up, please welcome the head of International Cooperation Committee of Women in Nuclear in Russia, Ms. Ekaterina Derbilova. And it's yours.
Dear all, thank you very much for this opportunity for us to join you today at this very interesting seminar. I think my colleagues have already said quite a lot. I would like to thank our Indonesian colleagues. I would like to thank Ms. Guinea specifically for allowing us to exchange views. And I think it is a very important step in building mutual cooperation and collaboration between countries and exchange views and opinions and knowledge about different areas and different domains of nuclear technology. So I'm very thankful to everyone, and of course to Ms. Alina, who helped us organize this event, and Alexandra, who is our big inspiration for all of us to move forward with the association and initiate different meetings and different seminars and other types of events. And of course, I'm very thankful to my colleague, Mr. Vadim, who will be joining us today at this event as an expert, and he will share some information about irradiation technology in Russia and different technologies that Rosatom is implementing. I would also like to say just a couple of words about the agricultural sector. I'm not a big expert in agriculture, but I know that for the last years, agriculture has always been an important aspect of GDP, an important aspect of economy, even though the share of agriculture has been decreasing slightly for Indonesia. As far as I know from economic parameters, it still plays a very significant part, and it is an important type of income generation in Indonesia for different types of plantators, different types of agricultural lands. And agriculture is also a very important part of Russian economy. And therefore, we see this as a very important step forward into discussing not only nuclear technologies, but economies of our countries overall, and building a bridge between our states and our organization in better understanding of different aspects of our countries. So I would like to thank everyone again and wish us all a very interesting and fruitful seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Detilova. Yes, as you said, that for sustainable agriculture, we should not forget the economics, the social and economic factors. And if a farm is not economically sound, or the well-being of the farmers are not considered, then the farm will not be sustainable. So ladies and gentlemen, let's move to our speakers. I would like to invite Mr. Vadim Safilov from Russia to give his presentation. Mr. Safilov is currently a project office director at Rosatom Overseas. Previously, he held various positions at Rosatom Healthcare and focused on radiation treatment facilities. He holds a master's degree from the Moscow Engineering Physics Institute. You have about 15 minutes, sir. You can start.
Good morning, all. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be a part of this seminar. With a great pleasure, I would like to present a short presentation regarding the radiation technologies that we are currently using in Russian Federation, and actually that we are currently developing worldwide. So please, next slide. I would say some words about the Rosatom global company. So most of you, I think, know that Rosatom is one of the most biggest companies that are providing solutions in the nuclear industry. And of course, our main and core business was and still is a nuclear power plant with a big scale and a small scale. We are also responsible for the development of the research reactor activities and providing various solutions considering the medical isotopes producing and radiation technologies and so on. So next slide, please. There are two main areas as we see. One area is the main part is the energy sector, where the all nuclear fuel cycle, fuel fabrication, nuclear power plant construction and design is situated. And another part is actually non-energy sector, which is considered with isotope production, irradiation technologies, nuclear medicine, and manufacturing equipment. So, yeah, next slide, please. Within the last 10 years, we have increased our orders by the number of more than 300 million USD dollars in various areas of radiation technologies and nuclear projects. So, and our advanced nuclear technologies allows our clients to increase the better life quality of their increasing the safety of food and medical devices as well. Next slide, please. So let me just briefly try to explain how we are considering this irradiation technologies and what we are considering under this. So of course, the radiation technologies was always a main part of the atomic energy area, and within the history of Russian Federation, we are currently using these radiation technologies mostly than 50 years. And of course, by the moment that we're here, we are mostly used these radiation technologies from the science point of view. And of course, in some areas from the manufacturer's point of view. So by the moment at this, we have several irradiation centers in Russian Federation, but within the years 2020, 2021, when the pandemic situation has come, we understood that probably we do not have much irradiation facilities because we have to sterilize our medical devices. And in this regard, we actually established the new business, which was and still responsible for the development of these radiation facilities within Russia and worldwide. So by the moment of the year 2022, we have built several irradiation facilities. One of them is not far from St. Petersburg, one of them not far from Kazan. Now we're implementing the project in Uzbekistan. We have increased some of our capacities not far from the Moscow, and we are providing these services for irradiation of the single-use medical devices. So as we now see, the demand for these services is very, very increasing. And to be honest, we would not like to stop on the current 4 or 6 facilities. We have a program that we are keen to develop and to build in around 10 facilities within the next 3 or 5 years. So, and considering that, of course, we have to consider how to actually develop this product. And this product should be developed in integrated and adaptable way, where the first, actually the site survey works, then we are moving to the design engineering, then we are going to the turnkey construction, equipment supply, and of course, service support. So within all these phases, we have a number of organizations within the Rosatom, and each of these organizations is probably responsible for these parts of the project. So, and of course, one of the main part is to develop the research ecosystem, because we have to provide a number of qualified people, scientists, who will be responsible for all this program to use these protocols, worldwide use protocols, to irradiate the medical devices, and of course for the infrastructure development. So we are now in the process of modifying our legislation, and probably this is also will be one of the main part and the reason how to proceed with the development of this direction and this project. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, there are probably 2 main parts where we are using our radiation technologies. And one of the main part, of course, and the most, I think, significant part is the medical suppliers to facilities and the services we are providing the radiation services. So another part is probably the food products. And within this part, we have an experience, and we have several institutions and facilities which are responsible for the irradiation of the food agricultural products to provide the better quality for this product, to increase the number of bacteria, to decrease the number of bacteria, and to provide the long shelf life. Next slide, please. So here I will speak about the agriculture, which is one of the crucial sector of the economy that ensures our survival and good health. So we identify a food dilemma whose challenges vary across countries and cannot be ignored. First area is the food safety, right? So we have to fall ill after eating contaminated food. 0.42 million die every year of foodborne diseases, and around 33 million healthy life years are lost yearly. Another part is the food security. So we see that more than 30% of worldwide food is wasted every year, and contamination is a contributing factor. In around 164 kg of food per person is lost annually, which is a big number. And in around 2.37 billion people are affected by moderate or severe food insecurity in 2020. And of course, nutrition. Unsafe food creates a cycle of disease and malnutrition, particularly affecting vulnerable populations. 811 million people still go hungry, and around 45% of deaths among children under 5 years of age are linked to undernutrition. Next slide, please. By providing a multi-purpose irradiation facility, which is address food dilemma and easy the path towards sustainable food ecosystem. So the food safety, destroy insects, pests, bacteria, and other organisms that cause spoilage and foodborne disease. Process packaged fish and meat to prevent recontamination of the product, and to provide fresh, frozen, or canned fish and meat irradiation treatment. Regarding the food security, to increase the shelf life of products, to prevent sprouting and premature pining, and improve crop yield by processing seeds with a duration. And of course, nutrition and food quality. Retain anicue and flavors of foods, since irradiation is called a process. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think that's I will skip some of the slides with their number information and go directly to the next one. Yeah. So now we'll speak about the medical devices. So the first topic is to provide sterilization services with the prepackaged single-use medical or disposable goods, masks, gloves, syringes, protecting clothing, bandages, and so on. So by this year, as I mentioned, considering the great impact of the pandemic situation, the number of radiation services is significantly increased. And of course, another area is medical implants, which is also one of the main parts to ensure safety of implant devices such as catheters, prosthetics, and surgical sutures. Next slide, please. So, and among others, of course, there are a lot of another applications of radiation treatment. Radiation treatment could be used in electronics, manufacturing, and construction, and this is about a very big area. And I think so. If you will allow me to have this presentation in your next seminar, I hope they could provide you more information about this series. Next slide, please. So, considering the solution that we have in Rosatom, we could provide a wide range of services from engineering and construction to professional training of our facilities. So herein on the slide, you could see that within the facility, technology, people, and supply, we have several units and services that we could provide. Next slide, please. One of the main and of course, the most important part is to assist clients our worldwide clients and our Russian clients in building facilities for food and medical supply irradiation. So RioBio solution, which is the irradiation center, consists of 4 essential elements. And each of them we're trying to help our clients to optimize. One, of course, is the cobalt supply. So now within the world, we see the shortage of the cobalt supply. So, and now we're working on the development of the company, how to provide and how to increase the production of the cobalt-60. So we hope to prepare this program to be prepared by the end of this year, and starting from the next year. So we will be in the process for implementing this program. So the facility, turnkey engineering and construction. So as I mentioned, the core business of Rosatom was the nuclear power plant construction. And of course, we have a significant number of organizations who are involved in this process. And within these companies, we also have several companies. And one of these companies is our daughter company, GSPI, which is responsible for the design and construction of these facilities. And maybe you will know that now we're implementing the project in Bolivia, where the first phase actually will be the commissioning of the first irradiation facility in Bolivia. The third one is the technology. So as I mentioned, we have several institutions that are involved in the construction design. We also have several institutions involved in the gamma radiation technology and machinery manufacturing, as well as the manufacturing of the electron beam radiation technology. And of course, operations. So within the Rosatom, we have an integrator responsible for the operation activities in Russia. And now we are considering to establish a new entity who will be responsible for some operations abroad. Next slide, please. So that's actually what I've mentioned before on the slide. Yeah, please, next slide. And of course, people, which is one of them, not one of them, let's say main part of this process is the people who will be constructing, who will be operating, who will be doing his research and development program within the radiation technologies. So, and under this program and under this, we have several institutions, universities, who are responsible for the main part of the technological area science and preparation for the well-prepared personnel. So within these universities, we have Rosatom Technical Academy, which providing the graduate level. We have a postgraduate level, like Moscow Engineering Physics Institute, and considering the needness to implement also the leadership and management, within our partner institutes, we have Lomonosov Moscow State, Russian Institute of Radiobiology and Agroecology, and Tomsk Polytechnic University. Next slide, please. Here you could see that radiation technologies vary by their economic and operational parameters. And if we will compare the thermal, chemical, and radiation technologies, we will see that from the capacity, sterility, duration, packaging requirements, sterilization agent residue, ability to penetrate, and investment, the most efficient will be radiation technologies. Next slide, please. So here we're briefly describing how the radiation breaks chemical bonds of atoms of a harmful microorganisms, which lead to their inactivation. So there are two ways of impact: direct impact and indirect impact. So by the direct impact, radiation ionizes atoms of DNA of harmful microorganisms and irreversibility damage them, thus preventing their reproduction. And indirect impact, radiation forms highly active free radicals, H+ and OH- from water, which affect the DNA of harmful microorganisms and destroy it. So international standards set recommended doses of ionizing radiation to ensure its efficiency and safety of products for the end users. Next slide, please. Here we're saying about the advantages in comparison. So as I mentioned already, so let's proceed with the next slide, please. Now let's see how the radiation technologies are spread worldwide. So more than 500 radiation facilities operate in over 60 countries. And the sterilization service market is forecasted to grow and is positively impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak. So here we see distribution of the population, irradiation facilities, and the people who are on irradiation facilities within the region worldwide. So of course, and the main part of the irradiation facilities is situated in Asia and Oceania, and considering that Europe and United States, they're also quite good in this. So we are from our side also trying not to be the last in this list and trying to, let's say, build the more capacities that we could. Next slide, please. So for many countries, the irradiation treatment of food products may open a new market actually. So for example, in United States, Australia, China, and some countries in the Europe United, it is forbidden to import of certain categories of non-irradiated food products. So, and its limitation is going to vary by country. So that is why some of these countries considering these technologies as the main opportunity to, let's say, provide their goods, their food products to the well-developed countries. Next slide, please. Considering the economic impact and social impact. So by providing the irradiation facilities and irradiation services, it could increase the revenues by 20% due to longer shelf time of products. And by social economic, it's around 30% of construction and supply work at the facility site may be performed by local employees. So by the business scenario we're considering, we're working with the client closely and providing them business cases and feasibility studies, analyzing country-specific requirements for food, the legislation, regulation, what are the export volumes and destinations, and so on. So, and we also help our clients to develop a regulatory framework for irradiation of food and medical products in the country. Next slide, please. From the Sustainable Development Goals point of view, the bio and irradiation facilities may help to improve nutrition by increasing product quality, build sustainable food and healthcare ecosystem, ensure safety of crucial items, and promote equality and equity of access to safe food and medical supplies. Next slide, please. So here on this slide, we are considering probably two main technologies that we are using in our irradiation facilities. Of course, the most popular one is the gamma irradiation based on the cobalt-60 sources. The second one is the E-beam facility. There are advantages and disadvantages considering within all these technologies. And from the E-beam facility point of view, you have to supply a sufficient power. And from the irradiation using gamma, of course, you have to supply cobalt-60, which now is a kind of a shortage on the market. So, but of course, from the penetration point of view and from the capacity point of view, the cobalt-60 is more preferable as an option. But still, considering the opportunities of the market and considering the type of the product, we could provide various solutions. Like, for example, mostly in Russian Federation, for sterilization of the medical devices, we are using electronic beam facilities. But for the decontamination of the food, we are using mostly cobalt-60 as a gamma source. Next slide, please. So there is the way how we see and how to implement it to our main irrigation facilities. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is also one of the main components of the irrigation facilities. Next slide. As I mentioned, there are two main technologies, E-beam and Gamma. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. This is about the unloading, uploading area. So there is, well, first of all, set up for two configurations. I think that we could skip it as well. Yeah, and some models how we implement this project. So we could offer like an EPC, which is engineering, procurement, and construction, or BOT, which is build, own, operated transfer. So it depends on the customer wish and their strategy. So, but still we are open to discuss all the modalities that we have. Next slide, please. So this is how we implement the project model called EPC. Next slide, please. This is project model about BOT. It is more complicated, but still it is doable. Next slide, please. So there are several facilities in Russia that are currently built and which are at the country of the commission, on the process of the commission. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is how the project engagement plan is looking like. Yeah, I think we could go to the last slide. Yeah. Thank you so much. My name is Vadim Savilov. It was a pleasure. If you have any questions, please welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Savilov, for your overview of the solutions offered by Rosatom through its preferred biosolution. Very interesting information as well on the training. We already have some questions in the chat, but we will ask you the questions after the second presenter. So, ladies and gentlemen, next, please welcome Dr. Asri Kusumadewi. She currently works at the Research Center for Radiation Process Technology at the Research Organization for Nuclear Energy in Britain. She is a specialist in plant breeding and biotechnology and has developed 3 superior varieties of rice plants for Indonesia. So please welcome Dr. Asri Kusumadewi. You have about 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Joanna. I will try to share my presentation first.
Okay.
Could you see my presentation?
You can start.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all participants in Indonesia. So good morning for the college in Russia. Thank you for the opportunity. Here I represent my college from our research group to share the research experiences and what we have done and achieved related to nuclear technology in agriculture. So my name is Asri Kusumadewi. I'm under the Research Center for Radiation Process Technology and the National Research and Innovation Agency. And before we continue to the next slide, allow me to talk about nuclear technology. So if we talk about the nuclear technology, there are 2 important things that we have to understand first. The first is nuclear energy for the nuclear technology for energy, and the second one is nuclear technology for the non-energy. For this afternoon, we would like to sharing information about the nuclear technology for sustainable agriculture in Indonesia. So, okay, allow me first to show you a glance about the Indonesia's agroecological condition. So as you see in the screen, Indonesia physically, biologically, and culturally, Indonesia is recognized as one of the most diverse country in the world, and it's outstandingly rich in plants and also in animal species. So about 95% of the land surface of Indonesia is still covered for by the vegetation. So that's why Indonesia is considered an agriculture country, since more than 40% of the country employments are still engaged in agriculture, either as landowner or the farm labor. So actually, Indonesia have 5 main islands. As you can see in the screens, there are 5 big islands here and also 2 smaller islands in Indonesia. And also the total area in Indonesia more than 119 million hectares, and based on the utilization feature, more than 30% is agricultural land, covering lowland, upland, estate plantation, grassland, pond and dike, and 60% is forest, and 3% is housing and settlement area. So based on the soil, the rainfall, and also length of growing period, and there are 5 agroecological zones in Indonesia. First is dryland, because it's dry climate, and second is dryland for the wet climate, and the yellow color is the highland, and green color is lowest irrigation, and blue color is for the tidal swell. So this is the information about the Indonesian agroecological. Okay. I will share the information in the 4 main things. First is overview of agriculture program in Indonesia. Second is application of nuclear science and technology in the food sector. Third is about past and present achievements in nuclear research in the food sector. And 4 is the integrated farming system or biocycle farming and nuclear technology approach for sustainable agriculture in Indonesia. So basically, there are 5 main things, 5 main things regarding for the food problems in Indonesia. First is about the population growth. As we know, the number of Indonesian population is increasing every year. And the second is about a problem of climate change. We found that an unpredictable global climate change in Indonesia that's affecting for the plant patterns and also for the productivity. And we are also the problem for the limited agricultural land. So the conversion of the agricultural land to non-agricultural land is increased in Indonesia. And we are also the problem for food safety and food loss for our national food problem. So concerning to the present condition of agriculture practice in Indonesia, as well as we know in many countries in Indonesia, we need to adjust our understanding and formulating the action strategy to help our government to develop a better and sustainable agriculture practice in the future. So there is a contribution of our research organization to support the sustainable development goals. As you see in the screen, there are some aspects that we can contribute from the nuclear technology aspect. And we are focused for the agriculture aspect to using the nuclear technology in agriculture. So nuclear also have the contribution for the program of our government, particularly for the midterm development plan. And as you can see here, there are 7 items here that we can contribute for the support our government program. And nuclear technology in the national research program for the food sector, we can see here that from our research group, we focus for the application of the nuclear technology and supporting by other technology or using biotechnology to produce the high productivity particularly for the food crop and like for the rice, soybean. And we are focused here to support our government to secure or to support for the food sector. This is also for the nuclear technology for the food sector to support the national research program. But as you can see here, we are also using some project for the formulation of rations and feed supplement for the improving production and reproductive performance as well as meat quality, and also for the vaccine development, for the formulation of ration for local chicken, and also for the prototype of packaged processing food, and also for the commercialization with shelf life. And this is the utilization of nuclear science and technology for the food sector. So for the plant, cattle, pest and disease, and also for the soil, we use the isotope application for the tracer and for the radiation source. We can use for the radiation source for using gamma rays using the cobalt 60. Also, we can use for the using the cesium 137, and we are also using the tracer like P32 or N15. And this is application of nuclear science and technology in the food sector. We will see more application of nuclear technology in agriculture, but especially for plant breeding based on radiation mutation. We focus on food plant breeding because in accordance with the government's program to make food plants is national research program. So you can see here that we are already produce some mutant variety like rice, soybean, and also sorghum. These three main food crop that we are contribute to help our government in the food crop program. We are also doing some research in another crops like manbin, groundnut, and also we are already released also the tropical wheat variety. And this is also a research that we are already done in banana and also with the cotton. So this schema says the pattern or the chart about the radiation mutation breeding that we are already done in our research group. So we are initiated plant breeding activities since 1972 to improve rice varieties and collaboration with the International Atomic Energy Agency. And in 1977, we also improved the research in soybean with radiation modulation technique also, and also to overcome the problems experienced by local varieties that we use with our research. This is the step in that we already use to produce our mutant variety. And actually, or generally, the objective of our research is to support diversity of superior varieties, and hopefully from these superior varieties, we could increase our productivity and national food self-sufficiency. This research and development schemes plant radiation mutation breeding in our research group. So we are doing from lab to farm, and we are also hope that what we have done in our lab could be implemented in the field, and also we can also share what we have produced in our lab to put the produce also and using also by the seed producer and also for the farmer. This is the irradiator facilities that we're using for our research. This is the facility of gamma cell, and we are also the facility of panoramic irradiator. This is we using irradiator for the larger genetic material, or we can also the whole planes for irradiation. And we are also some project research under the IAEA for the rice and sorghum for the drought tolerance, and we are also doing a research also for the developing marker for the blast disease. That's also under the IAEA project. And we are also some molecular work in our lab to support our research and our population, mutant population for the gene characterization and identification. Also, we are doing some work for the genetic diversity, and we are also using a molecular assisted selection for the screening our mutant. So we are also doing some research to support our local government to improve the local rice variety or specific rice or on land races for the preservation of local rice varieties, and also at the same time as an effort to increase food production and the regional income. So this is some result that we are already achieved collaboration research with the local government. So the new varieties of local rice improvement have been released by the Ministry of Agriculture and had been widely planted in some local area. So we can see that the important things about the mutation induction. So we can see here that mutation is very useful to create variation, also to change the one or a few characteristics in a commercial variety. Also, we can use the mutation induction to discovery of novel traits, and also we can use the mutation induction for the improvement of the vegetatively propagated plants. And also this technology less expensive than genetic engineering, and the duplication of natural occurrence at a higher frequencies and faster rate. These are some of the important things from the mutation induction. So because we are also some research in the vegetative plants, and we are also already some variety of from the ornamental plants. They are collaboration research with the Crop Research Institute under Ministry of Agriculture. We are also research in sugarcane to improve agronomic properties, especially early ripeness and easy removal of old and dry leaves. This research collaboration with the national sugarcane companies, and we are also already released one variety in banana. That's variety is resistant to fusarium wild disease and high vitamin C content. So there is some varieties that we are already released under the Ministry of Agriculture. So actually we are already released 56 of the superior varieties. This from the food crops. We are already released 32 mutant rice variety, 3 varieties for the sorghum, 2 varieties for the mung bean, 16 varieties for the soybean, 1 varieties for peanut or groundnut, and 1 varieties for the tropical wheat, and 1 varieties for banana. There is some varieties that are already released. The last one is Isora. This is one of the mutant varieties that we already released in 2021. Is also the some varieties that we already released from the soybean. The new one is the Gentan one of the varieties that already released in 2021. We are also released also the black soybean varieties in 2021 also. These are varieties from the sorghum.
Astrid, yeah, if you can speed up, finish it in 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So it is the integrated farming system or biocycle farming that we are using for the implementing our molecular technology for sustainable agriculture. So Batan, a focus for Batan or National Research Nuclear Research Organization that's focused for developing the agro-technopark based on biocycle farming or IFS by using agriculture research and development products. So we are using our product to implement it in this program. So we are using our rice and soybean product collaboration with the technology for the fermented fermentation technology for the feed, and we are using this for the support the program for the biocycle farming. So this is the IFS or biocycle farming, the implementation activities for the 3 target area. They are using with the mutation breeding. So this is also our basic laboratory in our research center. So this is the scenario that we are using to how to downstreaming our product to the end user. So this is the picture to show the location that we are already promoting our nuclear science and technology for the food sector. So this is so you can skip here. So this is what we achieved during the 2015 and 2020. So Indonesia received the outstanding achievement over mutation breeding, and also we got again for the outstanding achievement award in 2021.
Bu Astrid, kita
This is
bisa
also the collaboration that we are doing with IAA. So we got the collaborative center for the mutation breeding. So because of the time, so I think that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize, Ms. Astrid Dewi, because the other expert has to leave at 9. I'm sorry, at 9 at 3 o'clock Indonesian time. So thank you so much, Bu Astrid. We speed up the question and answer session. Let's go back to Mr. Fadim Safilov. We have several questions for you. We have questions from Andalas Impact, Hamidi Nasrum, and Nur Anida. So I can summarize all. In the 1960s, Indonesia and Russia had a very close partnership. For in this current era, what sort of strategic partnership that can be developed for nuclear application? And also in particular in the field of agriculture, what sort of nuclear technology that can be shared or cooperated with? Your answer, please.
1 second, please.
The strategic partnership.
Maaf, Bu Astrid bisa unshare itu.
Yeah, sorry. The first question is what sort of strategic partnership that can be developed by Russia and Indonesia in this field, in nuclear applications, and particularly in agriculture.
Mm-hmm. So I think that considering the historic cooperation between our countries, of course, we could, let's say, try to have a look on the history of its cooperation and understand what was the point that was as a starting point for this cooperation. And having in mind all the years had come, and having in mind that within this historic and within this period of time, our main science institutions collected a lot of information regarding the influence of the radiation, regarding the using the radioisotopes and the tracers, for example, and considering all the investigations, I think that we could start from the mutual kind of science program that could be established between our countries, and we could actually exchange our experts from Indonesia and from Russia to provide their knowledge and their experience in this field. So this could be like a first step. The next step could be, of course, to discuss the area of possibility to construct a full-scale irradiation facility in Indonesia if we will discover any kind of the needs for this facility. And with the company and Rosatom, of course, could provide all their opportunities and all the services within this, and also to provide maybe the financing or to provide the BOT model, EPC model, it depends. And of course, considering the possibility to established a good regulation in the field of the implementation and using the radiation in the country, we could also exchange our experience and knowledge in this area, and maybe to provide our vision how we could and probably should proceed with this legislation.
Okay, thank you so much. Second questions we got from Ms. Ganerina Sunario. Please give us the confirmation whether Russia still can provide the cobalt source for Indonesia. And what is the main irradiation source that Russia used for finding a new breeding on plants in research center or in university for your plant mutation breeding? Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. I think that's considering the opportunity to supply the cobalt-60. So we could discuss it in a separate way, because I'm not the guy who is responsible for the supplying of the cobalt-60. We have our entity called GSC Isotope, which is responsible for the cobalt-60 supply. And probably I could provide you the context of the person whom you will communicate on this manner. Considering the second question regarding where we're mostly using our radiation services. To be honest, I think that we are mostly using from the science point of view and using the infrastructure of our universities. But considering the demand of the radiation services, now we're more into establish full-scale radiation facilities, and I think for the nearest future, mostly we will be using radiation in this facility.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time now. You can leave. I mean, if you have other engagement. Thank you so much again for your participation at today's event. Thank you, Mr. Safilov.
Thank you very much for your. Thank you very much once again for this possibility to be a part of this seminar. And actually, I hope that this seminar will provide a lot of information and a lot of knowledge, worldwide experience in using the radiation technologies. And as I see, the radiation technologies becoming more popular in various of the aspects and areas of the medicine and of the agriculture. So, and from my point of view, this interest will be only increasing. So thank you very much, and I wish all the success.
Thank you so much. And Alina, I think with Ms. Penny, we can write down the, all these, comments from Mr. Vladimir, the first and second step and so on. And we can also take advantage of the cooperation in the field of agriculture. I see that there are actually universities also offering program. And I wonder if there are I don't know if there are Indonesians actually undertake the program, agroecology, for example, in Russia. We still have lots of questions actually for our Indonesian colleagues, to Dr. Asri Kusmadewi. Maybe I can start with Mr. Joko Basuki. He asked about sorghum. I know it's not your field, it's more like Professor Suranto. But can you respond to the question, Dewi? Is there has Indonesian basically developed sorghum for the sake to get as much yield as possible?
Okay,
can you comment? If not, I will skip the questions.
Okay, this is can you repeat again what is?
Yes, this is from Mr. Joko Basuki. He is developing sorghum for food, not for ethanol, and he wants to know whether nuclear technology has been used for sorghum to obtain high yield for the seeds. I think for the
Okay. Thank you. I have to answer in Bahasa or in English.
Bagaimana Bu Geni? We can.
Kalau if you, yeah, I think it's better in English.
Better
So
in English,
our
yeah.
colleagues can understand them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So if we talk about the mutation breeding, not only for the sorghum, of course, you can use our plant mutation breeding to improve the some characters in a plant. Of course, for the yield and also for the other component of the. So for the question, I said that, of course, we can use our technology to increase the yield, not only for the sorghum.
Okay.
So because we have already produced and already released some varieties, include for the sorghum, we already released 3 variety of sorghum. So the technology or the plant mutation breeding approach, I think we can implement it to improve the stem character of the plants.
Okay, thank you, Bu Dewi. The second question, this is from Mr. Bangundeni. He wants to know the safety of this use of nuclear radiation technology on human health. I mean, in near term and longer term. Can you comment on that?
Okay, thank you. Like the previously presented by our colleagues from Russia, there are some doses that we can use, that we can implement it not only in agriculture, but also for the health, but also for the environment. So because we know that for each aspect, there are some optimal dose that we can use in our research. So for the aspect of the high risk, I think we are already used some what we call it there. We are already used some optimal radiation before we are using this rays or gamma rays in our research. So as we know that even though we are using the gamma rays for our genetic material, that doesn't mean that our genetic material is the what we call it, but that's right, that rays only we using to disrupt or to change the variation of our DNA, but that we can say that the radiation is a risk for our end product. This is my answer.
Okay, thank you. Next question, I think this is from Mr. Joko Basuki, asking how to handle bird actually for sorghum variety. I think this is he's looking for a solution, but maybe if you can you respond on that? Otherwise, we skip it.
Yes, for the bird in the field, I think that is impossible for us to get to. So one of the problem, one of the solving this problem, I think that we can. Right now, we still use the net to covering our plant in the field. So because it's difficult, like bird, it's difficult for us to avoid our plants from the bird. But in our experiment, we are also using only covering our plant with the net to avoid the bird to consume some of our seed in our field. So I think that's the solution for the problem of the bird in the field.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Actually, we have 2 questions. This is regarding the cooperation between Russia and Indonesia. Mr. Albert Maskur asked what kind of benefit that will happen if Russia and Indonesia cooperate to develop agriculture using nuclear technology. And the second question comes from Mr. Jupiter Pane. Why there are like more irradiation facilities in Europe? why is it like more feasible compared to Asian and Africa? So perhaps our colleagues from Russia, if you can answer, if not.
May I just provide a couple of answers? Probably, if you
Yes.
do not mind. I'm not an expert on irradiation, but I'll try to tackle this question from perspective of economics. And regarding the number of irradiation facilities in Europe, as we demonstrated in our presentation, actually, there are very many irradiation facilities in Europe, but there are as many facilities in Asia and Oceania region. So they are quite comparative to each other. My thinking is that probably in Europe, it is more economically viable because they're part of European Union and they develop regulatory framework for radiation together. So even though there are certain specifics by each country, I would suggest that probably this regulation and legislative framework for radiation plays a significant part. And therefore, it is easier to establish a facility. And it is also possible because all countries are very closely located in the European Union. It's possible to irradiate different types of product, not only from your home country, but very possibly from other neighboring countries. So the situation is quite different in the Asia-Pacific region. And I believe that this could be a contributing factor why it is more feasible, or let's say it's easier to establish a facility in Europe in comparison to in the Asian region, as the person has asked, but this is just my, let's say, economic take on it. And regarding cooperation between Indonesia and the Russian Federation, as my colleague Vadim has said, there are very many ways how we could cooperate, and probably cooperating in the area of research and science could be a very viable and fruitful step forward for our countries, because we could exchange different views and we could exchange experience and specific results of experiments in both countries, and this would enhance our understanding of irradiation and the positive impact of irradiation on agricultural sector. And I think both countries can contribute their fair share to this discussion. And probably those shares do not need to be similar, but they might be very different, but they still will build a solid nucleus of science for both of our countries. So I hope I answered the question from not an expert position, but from a position of person who is interested in building bridges between Indonesia and the Russian Federation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the answer. There are still some questions, but I think I will pick the last question for us. Is from Ms. Yvonne Agustin. She's asking about the difference between nuclear technology for breeding compared to GMO. Is the technology breeding with nucleus is safe for health? Bu Asri?
Okay, thank you for the question. Of course, there's a difference between the mutation breeding of product or variety with the GMO, because you know the GMO, that's in this technology we input some another gene from another genetic material, but with the plant mutation breeding, with mutation radiation, we are only working inside this gene that we disrupt the DNA, and there is nothing we input the other genes in our genetic of material. So of course, if we see the aspect of between the GMO and the mutation breeding product, I think the mutation breeding products is safety for the produce a new variety compared we are using the GMO technology. I think this is the answer for the question.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have come to the end of the meeting today, the joint working group of Russian and Indonesian experts. I would like to thank all the participants, to our colleagues in Russia, Ms. Rabik and Ms. Debilova, and also to Alina. Thank you so much, and to Ms. Kenirina Sunario for making the event happen, and to our speakers, Mr. Sakulov and Budewi. You can download all the meeting materials from the link in the chat room, and let us give an applause to all the speakers and to the organizers from Russia and Indonesia. Himni. And thank you all.
so much, Ekaterina.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Ya,
Dear
silakan,
colleagues,
Bu.
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.